You're listening to Served Up, a podcast that features inspiring beverage professionals and topic experts that share their passions through meaningful conversations. I'm your host, Bridget Albert, also known as the Market Fresh Mixologist, an industry mentor with decades of experience. Grab a cocktail and sit back. Let's learn how we can make a positive impact in our industry. Hey, y'all, it's Bridget here. I had the pleasure of chatting with Caroline Pardilla, the author of Margarita Time. In our chat, she explores the stories, inspiration, and sun-soaked philosophy behind her book. From salt-rimmed memories to life lessons mixed with humor and heart, it's a conversation that goes well behind the glass. So sit back, relax, grab yourself your favorite version of a margarita, and enjoy this really fun and spirited episode. Caroline, welcome to Served Up. So excited to have you on the show today.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Great. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Let's start off with your really beginnings. Where did you come from? Did you study journalism and writing? And then how did you start off as a blogger and really writing about food and drinks?
Yeah, I went to UCLA. I studied English Lit. I got my degree there. I always wanted to be a writer. And I actually started blogging just because I had a friend who he built websites, and it was in those early days when everybody had blogs, but they were stream of consciousness blogs. And I was like, I could do that, and he wanted me to, because he always asked me I wanted to take this girl out on a date, but and she's into this, but where do you recommend? And for some reason I knew where to go. I think I liked reading those city guides, of LA. So I always had an answer for him. And he wanted to build this blog for me. And he's okay, what do you want to call it? And I wanted it to be called Caroline on Crack, because in the 90s, me and my brother and sister, we had our own online zine. And it was called The Naval Examiner. And we all had it was a way for us to just write and share our writings to whoever stumbled on them. And I had my own little review section called Caroline on Crack. Just back when on crack meant oh, you're crazy or whatever, not you're actually on drugs. But so then I called my blog that, and I just I got into the whole cocktail scene around the same time the cocktail renaissance came into LA. So my blog started around 2005, and 2007, Said Moses opened, what's it called? 7 Grand. So it was an Irish whiskey bar in downtown LA. And I wasn't actually really into drinking. I didn't really start drinking a lot till I was 28. But for some reason I was attracted to cocktails and the cocktail scene, while all my friends were really into the food, the restaurant scene and everything. And they always followed chefs around and stuff like that. And I wasn't as into that as I was into cocktails for some reason. But so I just started writing about the cocktails, and the bartenders started to know me and welcome me into their bar and show me what they were working on. And then I started writing for LA Weekly and LAist, and then I became the drinks editor for LA Magazine. And all this in the meantime, I had an actual day job that had nothing to do with drinks. It was for this car consumer site, where I was a copy editor. So that was my daytime, paying gig. And then the whole cocktail writing was a hobby thing that I just did for fun. But yeah, so that's basically how I got to where I am now. Well, kind of, because then I got the job at Imbibe. That was about 2-3 years ago. After I was laid off of that car consumer site job. So that all worked out. But yeah.
It sure did. And I love how it's so grassroots. I mean, it's just, you put in the effort you built a name for yourself and it happened, right? And it's continuing to happen for you. You know, what are some of the challenges that you faced when you're transitioning, you know, from a blogger to really that professional journalism when you're really in that spotlight?
Well, for sure, it's like when you're a blogger, you can write whenever and how often and how any way you want. But when it was like, when I had an editor, it's like you have deadlines and you have to go write in their editorial voice. You can't, I was pretty snarky when I was a blogger. Um, so when you're a professional writer, you're not really allowed to do that, or it's not viewed well. So it was a lot of having to adjust to that. And I miss having that voice. It's kind of hard for me to get back when I was writing this book. And I know, it's like, okay, well, this is now I have to have I have my own voice again. It was really hard to tap into that again. But every now and then you can see like she sneaks out. She's kind of there. But yeah, so that was basically it.
Yeah, I could really see that, you know, because then you have that somebody almost like hovering over you, right? You've got the deadlines. You really have to maybe march to somebody else's drummer in a way versus
Yeah,
you just had so
sure.
much freedom as a blogger, which is amazing. Really
Yeah, I mean word counts and all that, which it's like you got to grow up, so that's fine. That's fine.
I feel you. So let's talk about your book, Margarita Time. So what inspired you to write Margarita Time, and why the margarita specifically?
So it's funny because it's not really an interesting origin story because so 10 Speed Press, they well, let me back up. I've always wanted to write a book, right? But I never really I never was aggressive about doing that, like getting an agent or pitching publishers or anything like that. But 10 Speed Press reached out to me and they were like, would you like to write a book about margaritas? Would you be interested? And even though I've never written a book before, and, after I had lost my job, it was like my philosophy was just to say yes to every opportunity, no matter how scary. And so I didn't want that. I didn't want to stop myself from doing that just because I've never written one before and it seemed kind of overwhelming and scary. But so when they asked me and I was like, yeah, I would. And so they had a margarita book, like it's 20 years old, and they didn't want to just update it. They wanted a completely new one. And they asked me to pitch my idea for one. So I didn't get it like the job right away. I had to win him over. And I was like, okay, well, I am not a recipe creator. But I know a lot of bartenders. So I think this book would be great if I was able to like tap like some of the best drink makers in the world for their distinctive riffs on the margarita, especially now after, the cocktail renaissance with like all this technology, and how a lot of bartenders adopted culinary techniques. All these riffs would be just really interesting and varied and great, and they like totally went for it. So
yeah, you really do have an impressive lineup. Everyone from, David Arnold, who had his early days with Patron, right? And I saw like Shannon Mustafer, who's really an expert now in rum, but so many other spirit categories, and especially in just well-balanced, delicious cocktails. So it's really, really cool to thumb through the book. And with that said, the margarita really has like this mysterious past with so many stories of how it to be. What origin story really resonated with you the most during your research?
Oh man, that's a good question because there were so many and they're all fun though. They're all so fun, there was like the one that was like, what's her face? Not Rita Moreno, Rita Hayworth. There was one that said that it was inspired by her when she was like a young dancer in like Mexico. And then this other one, which I always thought was funny because it's such a like influencer thing to say, like, oh yeah, I invited all my celebrity friends and I had this pool party and I wanted to throw a cocktail together, that's perfect for sipping poolside. And so that was Margarita Sames, who was like a Texas socialite. And she was like friends with like Conrad Hilton and John Wayne. and everything like that. So it's like, that's how that spread, So it's just funny, to see these like people who say that they invented it. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like that's what, David Wenrick was like, he wrote about it and he was saying, yeah, they could all be right because around, Prohibition time, everybody went down to Mexico to work and to drink. And, in Mexico, there's limes and tequila and you take the daisy and you just kind of switch things around and that's the margarita. So yeah, I was like, I'm kind of like of that mind. I can, that they could all take credit for it. Sure.
It's kind of funny because there's so many places across the United States that have the flashing signs in front or on their bar menu, like the world's best margarita. It's kind of the same thing, right? We just all take credit for just freaking everything. It's so true.
It's like, well, like in the movie Elf, with like the world's best coffee. It's like, yeah, sure.
Sure, absolutely. Do you see the margarita as more of like a cultural icon or a flavor profile or both? Because it's just such a well-known cocktail. It is an iconic thing, right? Or do you just see it more as like a flavor profile? And so meaning, it's a drink that's kind of a spin on the daisy. It's, it's citrusy, sweetness. How do you feel about it?
I mean, obviously I wrote a whole book about it. So
yes.
I feel like it's huge. The thing is, it's like, with a margarita, it's like you think margarita and you think like just good vibes and vacation. And it's like all positive things, right? It's more than just the drink. And I covered this in the book where, during the pandemic, when everybody's, having to celebrate inside, like whatever the birthdays or whatever, it's like, or Monday, Margarita Mondays, that was a thing because it's just like, you wanted to be cheered up and you're kind of looking for some positive and, the mimosa was like the number one home cocktail, whatever, but it's like margarita was number two, which I think says a lot because it takes a little bit more than orange juice, whatever to throw together. So it's just, I feel like the margarita is more than just a drink, a cocktail.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I do think it's one of those cocktails that can really bring folks together.
Oh, yeah, for
it's
sure.
not hard to make and it's awfully delicious. And I really have never met anybody that doesn't like a margarita.
I wouldn't trust them if they don't like margarita.
Oh my God. It's like, if you don't like dogs, like,
no, exactly. You
like,
look at them like
animals. No.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right. It's like the margarita. It's like if you're at a party or anywhere and you're like, margaritas, anybody? Everybody's like, yeah, it's just it's a good feeling.
It is. It's really fun. And, can you tell us more about, the classic margarita and perhaps a recipe that every home bartender should know?
The classic margarita, in terms of what it's made up of? Or?
Yeah. And maybe just a nice, simple version of it. And I know that you have a nice classic margarita in the book, as well as a frozen margarita in the book. Can you share a recipe that perhaps every home bartender should know?
Well, the classic margarita, the way we like to make it here is we usually do so it's about 1 3/4 ounce to 2 ounces of tequila, and then Cointreau and lime. And then if you want a little bit sweeter, you can put simple or a little agave. We use like a whole lime, which, because it varies. It could be like 1 ounce or whatever, but, and sometimes we get dry limes, but you just like offset that. But it's just like so easy to make. But the Tommies is what everybody, I mean, I notice like a lot of bartenders, like, cause I've also asked everybody, all the drink makers, like, what are your personal specs for a margarita? Like, how do you like to make it for yourself and for your loved ones? And usually it's like a lot of them were the Tommies and even like, like canned margaritas or the mixes, whatever. It's usually just agave and lime juice. So it's just super easy to make a Tommy's. In that respect. And also the tequila is like more in focus, when you do that. So I'm a big fan of the Tommy, especially if you have really good tequila that you want to just showcase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is able just to sing through because it's so incredibly basic, right?
Yeah.
You're not throwing everything at it, which you don't have to have a well-balanced cocktail, which I think is one of the beauties of like the margarita as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very simple. did you discover any like regional variations of the margarita when you were doing the research for Margarita Time?
I found out that is Austin that has the Mexican martini, which has some olive brine in it.
Really?
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
Well, it's served in like a traditional like martini glass, the V-shaped glass. And apparently the woman who created it, she had gone on vacation to like Mexico or something, and they presented the margarita in that V-shaped glass, and that's how she got the idea together to do that. And now apparently it's very much an Austin thing. Like if you go anywhere else in Texas or whatever, it's like, oh, that's Austin, But I thought that was really interesting, and I noticed like a lot of people are like putting like brine, like there's like pickle brine, playing with pickle brine in it, and olive brine, and just making these savory margaritas. Which I mean, sure, you know.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I think it's
Mm,
definitely one of these cocktails you can have so much fun with, which is why in your book, I mean, there's what, 60 different variations,
yeah,
just in one book of a cocktail. So really
I
the
had to cut that down.
You did.
Yeah, I had way more. I might have had like 75 or something. And they're like, we
Wow.
only have so many pages, Caroline. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. So, but what was cool is that I had, what did it, when my book was about to come out, and then they let you do a pre-order pamphlet. So it's like all those extra cocktail recipes got into the pre-order pamphlet. So if you pre-ordered the book, then you got all these extra recipes. So that was cool. They had a purpose after all.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, because I mean, you could really just go on and on and on and not
There's
stop,
so many.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And with that said, how do you feel about mezcal in a margarita? Are they still like that respectful evolution of a margarita, or is it something just completely different?
Well, see, you're asking the wrong person about that, because I'm like, yeah, bring it. You know?
Me too. Like, absolutely. I love a little bit of mezcal in mine, but I'd like to hear
Yeah.
from you. Do you think that it makes it just a totally different cocktail, or is it still a
Well,
margarita?
Well, so that's the thing, is that there seem to be two schools on that. Like, there are people who are the margarita purists who are like, if it has anything other than like those three ingredients, or, even another spirit, then you cannot call it a margarita. While there are people like, Eric Castro, who's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, bring it. There's like the more the merrier. But I love a mezcal margarita, and especially with like the worm salt, it's just kind of like, it just works so well together. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan. And I notice like if you see a mezcal margarita on a menu, it's like usually a big seller. Or a spicy mezcal margarita. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's just something that for some people, it may be even something new that they've not tried before. So I think it's a cool entryway as well to the category of mezcal.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the perfect entry level vehicle for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And I know, yeah, a lot of people are scared of mezcal for some reason.
They
I'm
need to
like,
get over it.
yeah, well, they have
Yes,
their
need to
idea,
get
like, I
over it.
don't like smoky. And I'm like, it's not smoky.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. They're just absolutely silly.
Uh.
Uh, do you think, if somebody is experimenting at home, are there some unusual ingredients that you might recommend in their margarita?
Unusual in terms of like,
Flavor.
oh, well, I mean, I definitely like the worm salt idea. I mean, probably people don't really realize that, but I feel like that goes well with the mezcal,
Mhm.
better. Um, like a spicy tincture, like that, you
Ooh,
mean?
yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, it's like, because I'm not a big spicy person. Sometimes when I've ordered a spicy margarita or any spicy cocktail out in the wild, it's like, it's usually way too spicy for me and I can't taste anything else. But when we have a spicy tincture here, it was a firewater tincture. And I just put a couple of dashes in the shaker and shake it up. And it's like, has a nice little bit of heat. It's a perfect amount. As opposed to like if you put like, coins, jalapeno coins in it. You don't know how much heat you're going to get
Hmm.
because of the seeds and everything like that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
so unpredictable. When you add jalapeno, which I see right now, there's this huge trend going on with adding jalapenos to Sauvignon Blanc.
What?
I don't know if you've seen this trend, but it's out there in the world. Just adding like a little, coin of fresh jalapeno to Sauvignon Blanc. So it's definitely the spiciness is curing on beyond spirits to the wine world right now, which
Oh,
is
no
really
way.
interesting. Yeah.
Have you tried that?
No, I
Oh,
will. I'll try anything one time for the most part.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. But then you're going to, yeah, drink the rest of the Sauvignon Blanc
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. What are your thoughts on the ready to drinks margaritas and the whole, like cocktail canned culture?
There are a lot of good canned cocktails. Like I
Mm-hmm.
love, okay, I don't know if I can allowed to say
You can
it.
say it.
Okay. I love Live Wire.
Mhm.
I love how, he showcases bartenders and their drinks that they've created, and how he treats it like like they're rock stars, musicians, and so they have their artwork and anything. So I love that. And then and there's certain canned margaritas I like, but then there are a lot of bad ones, and I feel like there are some that are just having a canned margarita just to have a canned margarita because they know it's going to sell well. So and especially during, the pandemic, when it was people really, sought out canned margaritas or canned cocktails because they wanted something easy. And that was like the tipping point for that whole thing. It's just, I mean, I appreciate it, especially like during the summer and you have your cooler and when you see canned cocktails in there, you're just like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I think they're great to bring to a party when you know that you've found like a really delicious one. It just takes the work out.
Yeah, for sure. Like, why not? I mean, then if you want, you can have like a garnish table and maybe a little bar or whatever. But then having the canned cocktails, it's just like, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
instant fun.
Instant happiness. Yes.
Yes.
How did you choose the mixologists and bartenders who contributed to Margarita Time? And, what were you looking for?
So I mean, a lot of them were people who I, already was like a fan of their work. Um, but like a lot of them, and also a lot of them had margarita riffs that I knew of, I mean, of course, Julio's in there, Julio Bermejo, because Tommy's, um, and then I had, Jose Andres because he had the Saltaire margarita. It's like, you have to have that. So they're the popular margaritas, but also there were I looked for people like I tried to spread out like the region, like and have like a variety, a diverse cast of bartenders. So there was like the people in Singapore and Hong Kong and but what's weird is I noticed it was hard to find a really good margarita riff in Mexico because I didn't know this. Yeah, but
Say
apparently
that again. Kind of
it was really,
crazy.
it was really hard to find a good margarita in Mexico because apparently Mexicans like they're not into margaritas. Like it's more of a tourist thing. But like there was the Amal Pastor margarita that was the one that was and it's a global sensation. If you ask Wine Enthusiast magazine, they wrote about it. But that it was like in 55 countries and everything like that. But so that was interesting.
Can you maybe talk about some of the collaborators, the contributors that surprised you with their interpretation of the margarita? Did you have any like, wow, I never thought of adding that ingredient, or what a cool riff?
Yes. I mean, and this is the one recipe I keep bringing up because it's so weird and fun and like, what? So in LA, there's this bar called Big Bar. And, actually, actually tasted this margarita riff, in part of a cocktail tasting. And so I wasn't even looking for it yet. It was like even way before the book came out. And it was a red onion margarita. So she basically, she's kind of like the bartender, her name's Abigail Smith, and she has like this culinary take on cocktail recipes. And she's a Texan, so she's big into margaritas. So she made this margarita where she basically created this, red onion broth. Like she'll boil or cook the onions and then add like a little bit of salt and then make it into a syrup and then add that. And then there's like a little bit of pineapple rum. And it's the most delicious margarita. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, it has tequila, but it also has like a little bit of the rum and pineapple juice. And I feel like it's a perfect summer cocktail.
Gosh, I love that. I mean, I would never think to use red onion with pineapple, but it makes so much sense though when you look back at like a culinary dish. I've
Uh-huh.
definitely had like pork or
Yeah.
fish with red
Yeah.
onion and pineapple and lime
Uh-huh.
juice and a
Yeah.
sweetener. So it makes perfect sense, but how bold
Mhm.
and daring of her.
I know. And it's like that deserves to be in the book. You know?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh, I love it. If you could invite all your contributors to one really epic margarita party, where would it be?
Oh, well, so there's bar just opened up in LA called Daisy Margarita Bar. And it's actually by the same people behind Mirate. I don't know if you know Mirate,
Hmm.
but it's one of the not best selling top bars, best bars in the world or in North America. But so it's a dedicated margarita bar where they have about like 12 different margarita variations, including this like salsa verde one and a
Ooh.
frozen guacamole one.
Hmm.
So yeah, it'd definitely be there because they already are set up with the margaritas.
It makes sense. It makes absolute sense. And I love that, salsa kind of variation. It sounds delicious. I do love savory cocktails as well.
Yeah, no, and I love that. Like the margaritas, there are so many people that are taking it in that direction, like a new
Hmm.
appreciation of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tequila plays so well with so many, with veggies and with fruits, citrus,
Mhm.
like all of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what makes the margarita really great for food, like to enjoy with like tacos. I mean, to
Hmm.
enjoy with like savory, really savory dishes, barbecue.
Yeah. Don't sleep on having it with barbecue,
Uh
right? We don't
huh.
have to just have it with, a Mexican inspired dish. You can really step outside of that.
Yeah, totally. Oh, you're making me hungry.
I know I'm hungry too. Look at us. My goodness. What are some of your proudest moments as a writer in the cocktail and spirits world?
Aw. Well, when I got the job at Imbibe, because I felt like that was that like my whole career of blogging just added up to that moment. And so I was really thankful that I was like, oh my God, this makes everything make sense. I was like a blogger because like, that whole time I was writing just on the side. It wasn't my
Hmm.
whole thing. So to get that job and to see my byline in the printed magazine for the first time, I was like, oh my God, I got goosebumps. So that was really cool. And then I got like a couple of awards back when I was a blogger, like the blog post of the year. Uh, when I basically wrote 100 things to try in LA before you die. And so that got like an award. So things like that. I mean, just also when I got the job for LA Magazine being a drinks editor,
Hmm.
really cool. And of course, this book, like, oh my God, it's so weird to see the book, and I still have a hard time connecting with it. I
Hmm.
thought like when I showed it to my parents that, okay, now it's going to hit home, like, but they really didn't understand what the book was. They didn't know what I did for a living. So they were just like, what is this? but, but yeah, it was really cool. Oh, and then I had to go to a family reunion, and it was after the book came out and everybody bought their copies, and it turned
Oh my
into like a
God.
book signing. And I thought they didn't really, cause they were cousins, like distant relatives.
Hmm.
They were all like taking pictures with me, and
Oh,
it was really cool to, for them, to feel that, like that connection.
absolutely. I mean, what you created is incredibly special, and it's not easy to create something out of nothing, and especially a whole book dedicated to one singular cocktail. And it's an exciting book. It has
Yeah.
delicious recipes that we can all make at home, which I think is just perfect, especially, we're coming up on summertime. What a great time for this book to come out. I know I love to sit outside and have a margarita when the sun is
I
shining.
know. Well, wait, where are you?
Well, I live outside of Chicago in a small town called Shorewood, Illinois. It's a
And what's the
farming
weather
town.
like?
Today it is 55 degrees and it's a little
Oh,
rainy, but
oh man. Yeah. See, right now it's 79 degrees and it's really
yeah,
sunny. So I'm like, yeah, I could do that right now.
absolutely you could. Heck yeah.
But I wanted to go back to what you were saying, like how the recipes are easy. Then that was key for me when I was doing this, picking the recipes. And because at Imbibe we like to share recipes, but they have to fit a certain criteria. Like they can't be like too esoteric, like with like really like fussy steps and everything. And I
Sure.
kind of wanted that reflected in this book as well, because I wanted anybody to be able to make them. I don't want them to have to hunt down for specific ingredients and specific brands. So that was important to me for this.
Yeah, I think it's nice to keep it fresh, keep it simple, and where people can feel very confident then,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot
Yeah.
of times when we buy, I know when I buy cookbooks, I love buying cookbooks or even, cocktail books. I'm definitely not just making it for myself.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
making it because I'm entertaining or for me and my husband, but there's always like a plus one that I'm doing something for, plus five if I'm having friends over, whatever it might be. So it's wonderful when you can open a book and be like, oh, I can actually go to the grocery store. I can follow these steps and I feel
Hmm.
so confident, that it's going to
Uh-huh.
be something that's going to be memorable.
Uh-huh.
Friends and family that come over and, have this like, moment with me.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just like you don't want, and that was the whole thing. Also, is because of during the pandemic, everybody was their own bartender, so you want to, and this is for them, for people who are at
Mhm.
home and they just want to throw things together. So yeah,
Yeah. And they want to feel good about it, right?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and also I've actually subbed certain ingredients because I don't have that right now. I'll just put this instead, and it still tastes good. So
Mhm. Yeah.
you can still play with things.
I love that. Do you have any advice to give for aspiring drink writers or maybe even bloggers that you could share? Maybe some lessons that you've learned?
So it's funny because like back when I was blogging, like I was blogging to nobody. I didn't have these illusions of like, oh, well, I'm going to have these many followers or anything like that. I was just because I've always been a writer, so I've always been journaling, and so I was just kind of used to just getting my ideas on the screen. So I feel like to write for yourself, that's important to write for yourself, and just keep writing without any expectations of like, I want to get followers and everything. Like even now when on Instagram, it's so hard if you think like, oh, I want to be the new like influencer, new hot influencer,
Mhm.
everything like that. And I like spend all this time like creating this reel and it gets like like a low amount of views. I'm like, I have to remember like, no, I'm doing it because I love doing it. I love creating. And, you have to remind yourself about that. So I can't imagine what it's like to be of that younger generation when you didn't have that, like a world without influencers, but I feel like you just like practice and get out there, make friends, get with the community, like your cocktail community, get to know everybody, follow all the bartenders, your favorite bartenders, engage them. I think just do stuff like that.
Yeah, it really is. It sounds like, just jumping in,
Yeah, no, for
right?
sure. And
And
just have
trying.
fun. Yeah, have fun, explore. Yeah, try things like even with the Sauvignon Blanc with the jalapeno. Yeah, sure, try that. Like, don't
And
poo-poo everything.
yeah, until you've tried it, don't knock it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't know yet. It might be like a new favorite thing.
It could be. We don't know
Yeah,
yet. I haven't tried it
yeah.
yet. I need to try it though. I will try.
I know. I'm curious. I'll try it.
Mhm. Yeah, let me know what
Uh,
you think when you do.
That's another thing was that when I was younger, and that might be another thing because I was just a blogger, snarky blogger, but I poo poo things. I went to an event where there was like a guest bartender. It was Eric Castro. He said it was like the first time we met. So like way back in the day, but he was guest bartending at this bar in LA, and it was a huge event, and there were people going up to him and ordering like vodka sodas or whatever. And I was so irritated because I was like, there's a line and you're just gonna order, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? People like now looking back, like, no, they're getting what they want. It's fine. you know? So I don't
I
poo
think
poo everything.
I know we learn so much more with age, right?
Yeah.
Just we
Yeah.
learn more. So looking back, what would you tell your younger self, just entering the industry?
Oh, I would say, yeah, don't poo poo everything. Like, just go with the flow and like be open to all the experiences and all the different ways things are made. And, it's just, and also, I was always, I'm very, and introverted. So I wasn't really big into like going out and everything like that. I would be like, go out, go out there. Like, yeah, you're tired right now, but you're going to be so glad that you went out into that thing. So yeah. Oh my God. I'm so tired right now.
I know I'm always tired. Thank you, menopause. So
I
I'm just
know.
getting
All the
tired.
energy I had when I was younger. Oh my God. Now I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. It's time to go sleep.
10. I'm like 8:30. I'm in my jammies and in my bed.
Oh
So
yeah.
sad. I know. Zero fun anymore. Oh my
I mean, that's
gosh.
fun to me. Being
Yeah.
in jammies and watching your TV
I
show.
have a good margarita from the
Yeah,
recipe from Margarita Time.
exactly. Right? You can have all the margaritas you want.
Absolutely. What are your hopes for the readers that pick up a copy of Margarita Time?
Oh, that they really get into tequila, that it like, expands their horizons some way in that way. That they really find a new favorite margarita recipe that they want to make, and that like they put, or even better, if they like make their own margarita recipe, they're like, oh, this gave me an idea to throw these ingredients together and, follow these sort of, amounts and whatever, and they just make their own.
How
So that would be,
fun. Yeah.
yeah.
I think your book is going to inspire a lot of folks to do just that.
I hope so. It's not like, yeah, I don't, I'm not like, again, I'm not going to poo poo anybody. Like a margarita, it's like you just have fun with it, and it's going to taste great if you like balance like your citrus and your sweets, and, don't go crazy with the tequila.
Mhm. Yeah, and have fun with it.
Yeah,
Margaritas, I think,
exactly.
are meant to be fun and maybe make you want to dance. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because a lot of those creation stories, there's some dancing involved, right? There's some sort of party involved. So that's like, yeah, the margarita was born from that.
Yes, yes. It's such a beautiful, lovely cocktail for just every occasion. I feel
Hmm.
like just
Yeah.
any occasion, anytime. I mean, oh my goodness, you could serve it up on the rocks. You can freeze it. You can put different ingredients in it to make it even, more flavorful or fruity or citrus or flowery, floral, whatever you
Yeah.
want. It has to be like the most versatile drink.
I know. Yeah, exactly. What I also like about it is that, I mean, when the whole cocktail renaissance happened and people were focusing on like classics like the martini and the old fashioned Manhattans,
Mhm.
like Negronis, those are all like stirred, booze forward and everything like that. And but now everybody understands citrus and how that works. It's like, it's just, I mean, it's just, there's a great cocktail for, I mean, for anything. I just agree.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you as well. Where can our listeners find you, and where can they find Margarita Time, the book? Because listeners, I'm telling you, you need to not walk, but run and pick this book up.
Well, so I'm on Instagram as Caroline on Cocktails. So you can follow my drink adventures. And for books, you can get it. It's like, I think it's bookshop.org. You can buy the book from independent bookstore. Or yeah, just Google Margarita Time, Caroline Pardilla, and it'll come up.
That's fantastic. I want to congratulate you on such a special
Oh.
book and being so inclusive to the hospitality community. It was really fun for me to read through it and see so many friends and really see their personalities and flavors, right?
Mhm.
On the pages and their tone coming through. And it's been really wonderful getting to know you.
It was so
And
good to meet you. I was like, what? We hadn't met before? Had we
that's
met
just silly. No, I
before?
can't even get over it. And thank goodness
Yeah.
we have, because I think we're going to be lifelong friends now. I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
I hope so. So with that, on behalf of Served Up, I want to wish you just all of my very, very
Aw,
best with your book,
thank
with
you so much.
Margarita Time. with all the cool things that you do with your writing, with your journalism. You're definitely somebody to keep an eye on in this industry and beyond. I am beyond tickled to call you my friend now.
Aw.
And I want to wish you just some great health and a lot
Thank
of
you
peace.
so much.
Thank you.
I
Cheers
feel
to
all this
you.
vibe, these good vibes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Served Up is brought to you by Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. Produced by Zunu.online. Music by We Killed the Lion can be found on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of our future Served Up episodes. Cheers.